ask you, this UBS report's claim that Macquarie has up to $500 million in excess capital, which is well below the $3 billion that Macquarie says it has. Now, can we tell who is right?
Look, I think that the Macquarie has been overcooking it a little bit in terms of, we've got 20 billion of liquidity and 3 billion of excess capital. I don't think there's a question of them being short of capital, but I think this whole Macquarie, we are so tough. These analysts were simply pointing out that if you slice and dice the numbers a different way, they're not quite as cashed up as they say, that 70% of their shareholders' funds are assets held on the balance sheet for resale. Now, if they can't get these sales away, then you might see their shareholder funds fall. So, I think it was interesting that UBS came out and did this because the two analysts who are involved are top-rated analysts, and I actually had a go at them earlier in the week because back in March they put out a report on Babcock and Brown, saying that the stock was going to go to $25, and they used the phrase war chest in the headline. Babcock has $1.5 billion war chest. Now, in hindsight, this is an embarrassing report that was spectacularly wrong, and I think it's good to see these demonstrations of independence from analysts at UBS now, where they've basically come out and said, they've belled the top, if you like. They've come out and said, we think it's different now for Macquarie. Everyone else is falling over. Macquarie's not going to fall over, but they're not as strong as they say they are. And we think there's a few points of difference with what management says. And the stock fell 10% in one day, but it's recovered about half of that since then. So, and I think Macquarie is fundamentally different from Orco and Babcock. Its assets are better, it's more diversified, but it's not quite as fantastically strong as it was claiming to everyone at the annual report and elsewhere.
All right, but isn't that important about the excess capital? Because, the model, they've started to try and unwind the model that was so successful for them, and they've been trying to privatise their assets, right? And they need the cash to do that.
Well, they're privatising some. They've privatised Macquarie Capital, but they've basically flipped that to a bunch of hedge funds in Bermuda. In the case of Macquarie Airports, they're doing a big share buyback and selling off a couple of European assets. In the case of Macquarie Infrastructure Group, they're trying to flog half of the M7 in Sydney and do a big buyback. So they are reacting to the fact that people are concerned about the fact that their funds have too much debt. The governance isn't very good. And but I think the thing that Macquarie hasn't quite recognised is that it's a dead parrot. This model is gone, it's kaput, it's no longer going to work. People are not going to put money into funds where Macquarie can have Bermudan structures that they control, where they rip out outrageously excessive fees. And that's gone. It's all over. And Macquarie just has to manage through that and try and get through. They will get through. They'll liquidate a few assets. They'll do a few buybacks. But, the party's over for that. And I think that's one of the things that these analysts are recognising, that the ability to keep churning assets and gouging huge fees, that's gone. And it's not going to happen anymore.